in the secondary binding, then we can understand how they are affecting our movement with the coming current to the primary binding. And the same calculation we are going to relate the voltage in the y-axis with respect to the time, like with respect to time after 5 minutes, what was the effect? After 1 minute, before 1 minute, what was the effect? Then we can observe this record on live in every time, in every measurements. Okay, next, for the controlling our motor, exciter motor, this is called the exciter motor, we are using the one proximity sensor. Here we need to understand what about the proximity sensors. Then in the slide I forgot to tell one more point about this transformer. Basically this transformer, some people call it the transducer also. The best property of this one, they are just converting this mechanical moment to electrical energy. That is the best example. And in the industry, the many places this is the use in the real life also. Next, about this, the sensor we are using to understand how the exciter is moving, like how they are rotating. For that we are using the one proximity sensor to control the exciter motor, to understand the property of the exciter motor. Exciter motor have the one hole here. When they are passing to the proximity sensor always generating the one UV light outside, and when they are moving from circular on the face of this one, and when they are passing from the hole, the all light they are just allowed to come out. After that we can calculate how many times they are rotating during our real life, so that we can relate our movement with respect to time. Next, about what is the experiment we can do from our setup, which we discussed before. The setup, I can calculate the resonance frequency. Resonance frequency means we can understand what can be the maximum frequency during the excitations, because this resonance frequency is also important for our real life. If you don't know the property of the real breeze, like what the maximum they can vibrate, then we cannot put the limit. Otherwise it can be the danger. Suppose we can stop at least the big vehicles to passing from there, we can understand. Then the resonance frequency can be the best parameter for us to put the limit. That is the important parameter for the student also. They can understand when they become the designer engineer in the future, they can use this technique. Next, about the dynamical absorber. Okay, when we are putting the excitation of the beam, either we can applying the load on the beam, like suppose I am applying the 1 gram or 2 gram or 10 gram, then we can understand after vibration how the load is effect to the system, and that calculation we can do. So without load, with load, like how they are affecting, what is the resonance frequency they are affecting. Then generally we are getting the very nice relation in between the frequency. Suppose this is the amplitude of the oscillations and this is the frequency, then always we are getting this kind of relation. This part, this higher part, this is called the resonance frequency. Then suppose the any system have the limit from the 10 hertz, then in between the middle line we are expecting to get the resonance frequency. And the similar in the real life also, like we always design the system in between the one range, like we cannot give the higher frequency to the system, it cannot survive the long time. This is the first example we are going to calculate in the real life also. Second important parameter, this is called the damping ratio calculations. Damping ratio is also important because we know that in the real life, we are discussing about the real life, anybody has started vibrating, then after some time they will get a stop due to the external force. Either external force, it might be air or some other resist, might be liquid. Then it's also need to calculate for the real life what can be the maximum vibrations, and it can be, suppose if you are applying the maximum force, it can be the over damping or critical damping, which kind of damping they are showing. Then we can understand due to the designing, like how we can use the system according to the damping conditions, so that they cannot be the harm for the real life. Okay, then the third application, this we can sketch the graph of the amplitude against the against the frequency, as I discussed in my graph. Like we can make the one graph in between the amplitude with respect to the frequency. Third, we can make the measurement of the time period. Time period means at what is the time to repeat the activities, the same activities. Okay, the third condition, we can make the calculation like what effect they are giving to the beam, because the beam we are treating like a breeze, we are treating like a moving vehicles. Then what effect they are giving to them? This exciter, what the effect they are giving? The third parameter, this is called the spring constant. Suppose I am using on the top side, this part I am using the one as spring with the beam, and we will excite the motor, we will start running this motor. We can see from there also, suppose I am putting the one spring here and I may start rotating this motor, then what effect they will give to the spring? We can calculate the spring constant also. But in your setup, we have the one more dedicated equipment to calculation of the spring vibrations. I will discuss in the next chapter. Okay, about this is called the mass spring systems. For the mass spring system, this is called module HVT12H. In the HVT12H, we supply the one dedicated equipment to understand about the calculations of the spring mass, how the spring mass is affected, and how they are, what is the spring constant, and which kind of they are generating, what is the time period of this apparatus. For that, there are, what is the experiment of this one, like what we can do from here. There are two options. We can do the first calculation, we are going to applying the different load, either 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram. Then when you are applying the force, due to the gravity the spring will be going down, then we are going to calculate the spring constant. After that, we can relate what the theoretical experiment is giving the spring constant and what is the real life we are receiving. Then what is the error of the measurement we are getting. We cannot say always in the real life theory 100% matching with our experiment. Otherwise, if all theory is matching with the experiment, then they no need to buy the setup, because designer always make the calculation, they will put the all value and they will design. But in the real life something different. Always we are getting some error in between the theoretical part and the experimental part, which we are going to discuss with our student, like they can understand how different the both situations, like on paper and real life. Third conditions. Okay, we are going to calculate the frequency of the vibration, theoretical frequency of the spring. There is some standard formula. Generally we are define, suppose any moving body have, generally we are define, sorry. Suppose this is the origin of axis and this is the spring. Suppose I am putting the one mass, this is the mass M, and applying the force F, then I will apply the simply, here is the Kx. Suppose I am applying the simple Newton's law here, then I can write Ma equal to F minus Kx. Then here M, I can say dx square by dt equal to F minus Kx. Suppose in case we are not applying any force, that time this force, the value will be 0, and we are in the SHM, simple harmonic motion, x we are consider as a sine omega t plus x plus d. This is the phase angle, either it will be single angle, yeah, it will be multi-angle. Suppose I will substitute and do the differentiation, then finally we are getting the A value equal to omega square x. This is the part of the frequency. Suppose I multiply by m, then it will be equivalent to the force. Then finally we are going to get omega square x equal to accelerations, and in the force equal to kx, then I will put here the MA equal to Kx, A equal to Kx divided by M. The same value suppose I am putting here, Kx divided by M. Then this xx will be gone and the omega equal to K by M. This is the, and the omega equal to 2 pi f. Suppose you will divide it by 2 pi, then you are going to get the frequency value of the SP. For that, this theoretical value we are going to calculate in our experiment, and we are going to understand what the real life they are affecting this value. This is the important parameter for the dedicated equipments. Next, even I put the formula for you, the same formula which I discussed there, how we are calculating this value. This is the formula theory for the student. They will make the calculation by self. They will take the record and they will show to the lab in charge or teachers. The next condition. This is called the compound pendulum, a simple pendulum and the simple pendulum. As in my first slide, when I start discussion, I said vibration we are defined in the 3 parts. One part is called the free vibrations, force vibration and damped vibration. This pendulum can be the best example for the free vibrations. For that, we are providing the 2 setups. One this part, the first image. This image is called the compound, and the second part is called the simple pendulum. In the simple pendulum, why this experiment is the important? Yeah, in the next slide just mention what part is called. This is called pendulum bar, the fixing point and all. The second point, we know that, suppose if I go to the first image, we know that the time period of the simple pendulum, it's not depending on the mass. If I discuss about the time period, the formula is 2 pi L by G. Means the time period of the body is not, this is the gravity and this is the length. Suppose any body is suspended from the top and only depend on the length of the mass, that thing we have to make the calculations. For the first case we have to vary the length and we are going to measure the time period. In the second compound pendulum, we know the time period is not depending on the mass, then we are going to vary this ball mass in the different places, and a student will make the calculation, they will verify the results. Then the teacher will be they will see the record of the data, what they are receiving and how they are making the calculation. It's only for the understanding about the free vibrations of the systems. Okay, just I put what the experiment we can do. First effect, we can verify the time period. As I said, this not depend on the mass. We can verify. We just change the length and we are going to make the measurement. And in the compound pendulum, we are going to change the position of the mass and we are going to make the measurements. The second, how the amplitude of the vibration they are affecting in the free vibrations. The student will make the calculations and they will show to the teachers. Next, there are some formulas which we discussed already, is mentioned here, and even in your manuals is very clear mentioned the page number 55. There is the one chapter they completely mention about the all formula and the calculations, verification, how we are discussing by help of the Newton's law, energy conservation theorems. Next, about this is called the other vibration. This is called the Trifler suspensions. The concept is same here. Means in the first slide we are using the different mass. Either it will be compound pendulum, it will be simple pendulum like the one thread, and downside there is a small mass. Here we are using this kind of setups. Downside they have the T kind of setup, and we are going to suspend this part from the thread, and the same time we are going to make the calculations of how the time period is affected. Which road is there? Can you stop this video, please?